Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are looking at the MLB picks for Monday. Got 11 games today. Had some big-time Game 7s yesterday, not only in NBA, but hockey as well. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed them. Luka put on a show, leading them to a huge blowout victory, and they had some role players step up as well. Dinwiddie dropping 30, and then the Celtics took care of Giannis and the Bucks. Let's go ahead and get into today's baseball slate. Now that NBA is down to just 4 teams, we'll have a lot more slates of not having NBA, so we'll be looking at baseball a lot more. And once NBA concludes, lots of baseball content, and then hopefully football is right around the corner. It gets here as soon as possible. Let's go ahead and get started. As always, appreciate it if you hit the like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out all the socials down in the description. If you play on Prize Picks, you can use my code PROCESS for a deposit match. And let's go ahead and get started. So, looking at over at Fantasy Labs, we got some good totals today. Got some good teams. Got a Coors game once again to target. First game up we have is the Yankees against the Orioles and Kyle Bradish. Bradish has pitched well so far. He's $5,800 on DraftKings, but his advanced numbers definitely signal some sort of regression will be coming. If you look over here on Fangraphs, this is his first season in the big leagues. So they don't have huge sample size on it, minus just including a few starts that he's made so far. But looking at right-handed pitchers or right-handed hitters, getting a little bit lucky with the xFIP is 4.24. He's been good against lefties, but 20% K rate against righties compared to 32 against lefties. The Yankees are filled with a lot of good right-handed hitters like Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, LeMahieu, up and down the lineup, Donaldson, Gleyber Torres. They got a lot of righties, so if Bradish is a bit reverse splits like his stats so far indicate, then should be in for some trouble today against the Yankees. Second game up we have is the Blue Jays against the Mariners. Mariners going up against a lefty, and Kikuchi's been up and down this season. They're not a team I get crazy about stacking against lefties. You can look to a couple of these guys like Ty France is pretty affordable. Julio Rodriguez, only $3,200 in your outfield spot. He makes some sense, but you're not going to be looking at like and Suarez is also really good against lefties, going back to his days in Cincinnati. But you're not going to be looking at Crawford, lefty-lefty. You're not going to be looking at Winker, lefty-lefty. And then on the Blue Jay side, against Chris Flexen, who's not a strikeout pitcher at all, looking at his stats so far this season, he's always gets lucky with the contact at times. 4.2 for ERA, only 22 strikeouts, giving up 5 home runs already. Not a very good spot going into Toronto and going up against this powerful lineup. So the Blue Jays are definitely one of the most appealing stacks today. You can look to some of the values like Gurriel's only 34. Always you can look to pay up for Bichette, Vlad, Springer. They all look like great plays. We have the Astros against Red Sox. Red Sox favored today with Garrett Whitlock against Jake Odorizzi. Odorizzi, another pitcher that is getting is not much of a strikeout pitcher at this point anymore. He relies on fly balls, and in this park, the fly balls can definitely leave the park. So, looking at his stats so far this year, he's been fine in terms of not giving up that much power. He's only giving up 1 home run. Looking at his advanced numbers, the left-handed hitters should get to hit him a little bit better. He only has an 8.9% strikeout rate against lefties this year. The Red Sox don't have a ton of lefties, but they still have some that we can consider, and the righties are still very powerful, like Bogarts. I like his price tag, but Verdugo, Frankie, Cordero would be 2 lefties. Devers be another lefty you can kind of consider. On the Astro side, not going to go crazy with them. They're not one of my favorite stacks today. You can always mix and match some of them. I'll get like Alvarez and Altuve, and maybe you can throw in like Tucker there, but I like some other stacks today. Could see some rain in New York, so I'll skip over that game. We have a couple of good pitchers going up in Milwaukee with Ian Anderson against Freddie Peralta. This slate doesn't have that many good pitching options, so Peralta will be a guy that I'm considering just with the strikeout upside that he gives you. Nobody's comes close to his strikeout stuff on this slate. He has 38 strikeouts in 28 innings. He's given up just 1 home run. He's gotten in trouble a little bit with the walks, 11 walks already, but recently he's been kind of back to himself. You know, he throws deep into games. He's gotten over 90 pitches in 3 straight starts. So even though it's a tougher matchup against Atlanta, it's still like the fact that they only have a 3.6 total, and Peralta does give you electric strikeout stuff. We got Wade Miley at only $4,400. This is only his second start coming back. He got hurt. I mean, not hurt. He got hit pretty good in his first start. Had a -3 fantasy score, but he did throw 60-plus pitches if he has chances to get up to like 70, 75 today if things go well. It's a good matchup against the Pittsburgh Pirates. They have one of the worst offenses, and looking at this lineup, it's easy to see why they have one of the worst offenses in baseball this year. So if you wanted to consider Wade Miley to pay up for some bats, that's fine. John Gray against Noah Syndergaard here. I'm not looking to target any pitcher against this Angels offense. They are just one of the better offenses in baseball this year, with Ward playing at MVP level. They basically got 3 MVP candidates in their lineup right now with Ward, Trout, and Ohtani. And Noah Syndergaard, he's a fine pitcher, but his strikeout stuff has come down this year. He's not even averaging close to a strikeout per inning, so you're going to hope that he goes deep into games. Rangers do strike out a good amount, but his strikeout stuff has kind of gone away. Just 21 strikeouts in 29. He did have a good strikeout performance last game. Coors looks really solid today, especially the Giants. Their price tags have not caught up to playing in Coors. Most of the hitters are below $4,000, and even the ones that are above $4,000, none of them are over $5K, and the most expensive one is $45 for Brendan Belt. So we're getting great price tags on the team with the highest total today. You're going to be looking at getting to a few of the San Francisco Giants, and now that they're getting a little bit healthier with Peterson back, and they got Lamonte Wade back, and Brendan Belt is back, the lineup is looking a little bit better. And we got the return of Evan Longoria, so good to see him back for his 85th season. Twins against the Oakland A's. We have some decent pitchers here. Like Chris Archer's kind of fallen off since his days with Tampa Bay. He struggled with the Pirates, then he was hurt for a bit. So far this year, he doesn't really go super deep into games, and he's not been great. He hasn't gotten over 80 pitches yet this year. Seem to be kind of just giving him 3 or 4 innings, so he's not a fun pitcher to roster for fantasy. And the strikeout stuff is all right, but he still gets in trouble with the walks. He still gives up a lot of power. So he's not one of my favorite guys. It is a good ballpark to kind of limit home runs in Oakland, but still, I just don't have too much confidence in him at this point. And then we got Madison Bumgarner and Dodgers pitcher Gonsolin. Gonsolin looks good, even though he doesn't go super deep into games. We know the Dodgers sometimes limit their younger pitchers. Besides guys like, only a couple like Walker Buehler goes pretty deep into games, and Clayton Kershaw can also go deep into games, but with Gonsolin, they haven't really given him that long leash yet. He hasn't gotten over 85 pitches yet this year. Still gives you some good quality just because he doesn't give up very many runs. He doesn't give up very many hits. Only problem has been the walks at times, and the strikeout stuff is all right. So with how heavily favored the Dodgers are, I don't mind paying up for him. And we got some good value with Coors bats, so it should be pretty easy to get to 2 pitchers above 10K. And then the Dodger stack definitely looks good against a lefty, and Bumgarner Betts, Turner, both Turners look really appealing. Those would be the 3 that I start with. You can throw in the catcher as well, and Will Smith. Back to DraftKings, these are the 2 pitchers I'm sticking with. Other pitchers that you can consider would be Luis Severino against the Orioles. Syndergaard at 85 looks fine to me, and then even like Zach Logue at 78 looks fine against the Twins if you wanted to play him. And kind of it. I'm not looking at anybody else, except for maybe you can take a shot on Wade Miley at $4,400 and hope that he bounces back. Going over to first base, a guy I like a lot is Brendan Belt against Sensatella. Belt has been really good for the Giants this year. He was hurt for a little bit, but still has been one of their better hitters in terms of just hitting home runs. In last 10 games that he's played, he's batting almost 300, 297. 4 bombs and limited at-bats because only 84 at-bats because he missed some time. But overall, it's a good hitter against righties. You're getting Sensatella. If you look at his stats this year, always for his career, he's not much of a strikeout pitcher, so he always has to rely on contact, and relying on contact is not good for pitching in Coors. So far this year, lefties have a 477 slugging. He's getting hurt against righties as well. Lefties 5.48 xFIP, just an advanced number that shows that regression is coming. Only a 4% strikeout rate to lefties, 8% strikeout rate to righties. Like, he should get hit around by this Giants team like he has for most of the season. Over at second base, looking to pay up for anybody would be for probably Altuve for me at $5,000. Other options that I would consider would be going down a little bit. Like Story looks okay if you're looking to stack up the Boston Red Sox. We have some more value that we can consider with like $3,900 Gleyber Torres. I think he looks pretty appealing, and don't have too many other options depending on where some of these guys hit in the batting order. We can maybe consider them, like Tony Kemp bats leadoff. If you think he can get some stolen bases off of Archer, that's fine. Over at third base, Devers looks great against Odorizzi, lefty-righty matchup. Devers has been one of the few Red Sox batters that have been hitting well all season. Probably wouldn't go Max Muncy lefty-lefty, and he's also been kind of in a slump recently. I'd go down to Justin Turner, who's always good against left-handed pitching. Suarez looks good against a lefty at his price tag. I like Josh Donaldson at 41, but I'll go ahead and put in Wilmer Flores at 37. I know he's a little bit better to target against. He's a little bit easier to target against lefties, but he's having a good season for the Giants so far this year. Good price tag, sub 4K. He bats near the middle of the batting order. He does give you some power, and as you expect, these Giants hitters get a big ballpark upgrade, going from one of the more tough hitting parks to being now in one of the better hitting parks. Shortstop, I look at Xander Bogaerts, 48. Shortstop's always a loaded position, so Trey Turner, Xander Bogaerts would be my favorites. Maybe go down a little bit to like Tim Anderson, just with how much upside he gives you. You do have Bobby Witt, who's fresh off of a couple of great games in Coors. Over in the outfield, I'm going to start off with a Colorado Rocky player, and that's going to be Daza, just because he's so affordable. At only $2,700, he's going to be in the lineup against a lefty for sure. He's batting almost 400 in his limited at-bats, 60 at-bats, 23 hits. Doesn't have a home run yet, but yeah, he's getting on base. He's getting opportunities to get you like 5 at-bats with batting near the top of the order. Projected about like second today. He looks like a great option. And then the last San Francisco Giant player that I'll plug in here is going to be Lamonte Wade. Like, these Giants are super cheap, so I'm looking at least probably 3 or 4 Giants to get into my lineup. Wade was great for them last year. Now he's back. Played about 8 games so far. Home run. Last season his stats were great. Lefty-righty matchup. He bats leadoff for them, so you're looking at 5 at-bats like he has the last couple of games. And going up against a hitter that can't strike anybody out should be a good spot for these Giants to just go absolutely nuts. So that's what I got over on DraftKings. Definitely the Giants stack looks appealing. I like the Rockies a little bit, especially the righties and the cheap ones like Daz at only $2,700. Red Sox look good for me. Yankees and the Dodgers would be the stacks I'm kind of considering. And even the Cubs, I think they're a little bit sneaky. That's it for DraftKings. Let's go ahead and touch on FanDuel. So over on FanDuel, same type of deal with the stacks that I like. At pitcher, I plugged in Gonsolin just because he's only $8,700, so we're getting a $1,000 difference from Freddie Peralta. We're getting some rain in New York, so I'm not going to be looking at Mikolas, and even though I wouldn't really want to play him against a good Yankees or a good Mets lineup. Syndergaard is $99. I'd rather go to Peralta with this more strikeout upside. So Peralta and Gonsolin, 2 pitchers I'm considering, and with the savings, I went with Gonsolin. You can also make a case for Severino at $81. Catcher first base, looking at some of the Coors hitters. I like Brendan Belt a lot, $38. You also can look to like Yan Gomes if you needed a really cheap hitter. If he's in the lineup for the Cubs, he sometimes bats like cleanup for them, so that would be interesting against a lefty. Well, a lefty that will open, and then you might get some righties out of the bullpen. Trey Turner at 37. I like that now we can play him at second base. Second base is typically not a great position. We got some hitters, like you always have Altuve here, but overall, not too many. It's not as deep as shortstop, so I like the fact that we can play a guy like Trey Turner, who's always good against lefties, especially against Bumgarner, who gives up power and not much of a strikeout pitcher anymore. So I plugged him in at 37. Other options would be getting down to like maybe Trevor Story. You can maybe consider Ian Happ here if you're looking to get to some of these Cubs. And that's kind of it, unless you're going really cheap for like maybe Whit Merrifield, but not a very deep position. At third base, same type of deals. I like Devers a lot at 39. I like Flores at 36 if you're looking to stack up the Giants, like I definitely will. McMahon looks okay. A lefty is not the best for him. Maybe you can go down to like Josh Donaldson or Suarez instead, or Justin Turner. Over at shortstop, like Bogaerts, Tim Anderson. Like the price tag on Bogaerts. He's only 35, so he would be one of my favorites. And Trevor Story's here as well, but probably like Bogaerts a little bit more. Just he's always been better so far this year, and for his career, he's been probably better than Story. Story so far got off to a slow start. He did do well when he was with the Rockies, but you got to attribute a lot of that to playing in Coors for half of his games. Yeah, Simeon is super cheap, but I probably wouldn't play him against Syndergaard. And then in the outfield, you're getting sub $3,000 Lamonte Wade at 29. You also do have Jock Peterson. Peterson's been in a big slump recently, but did have a home run last game, but he's batting like .067 in his last 10. But at 34, he looks appealing. But I went with Lamonte Wade for 500 less. And then Jonathan Daza is 27. He said he's expected to bat 7th here on FanDuel, but Fantasy Labs has him as batting second, and that's probably where he will bat second or near the top against a lefty. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for watching. Best of luck today, and I'll see you all next time.